All right, here we are. The 2025 NFL Draft has officially wrapped, and it's time to break down exactly how the Raiders did. There's a new identity taking shape, and you can see it in how they approach every pick. They came away with a strong mix of instant impact players and high upside prospects. Players that blend grit, athleticism, and long-term potential. Today, I'm breaking down every pick from all 7 rounds, giving you a full look at each player's key traits and whether I think the Raiders made the right call. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel, starting with day 1, first round. The rumors had been flying for months, and they ended up being right. The Raiders selected Ashton Jeanty, the electric running back out of Boise State. A 5 feet 8 inches, 211-pound powerhouse with elite vision, contact balance, and burst, Jeanty is simply a playmaker. He racked up over 2,600 rushing yards last season, with 29 total touchdowns, forcing 170 missed tackles. What stands out beyond the stats is his football IQ, his soft hands in the passing game, and his high character background. Having moved around a lot as a kid, even spending time overseas, Ashton Jeanty brings maturity and leadership that's rare at his age. Some might argue about positional value here. After all, first-round running backs are always debated. But given the way the board fell, Jeanty was the best player available, maybe even the only true blue-chip talent left. Add in the fact that Pete Carroll is going to want to run the rock like he did back in Seattle, and it just made too much sense. At worst, Jeanty should become a top 10 back in the NFL, and at best, he could be one of the best backs in the entire league. When you're picking in round 1, sometimes it's as simple as taking the best guy on the board. If the Raiders can stack picks like this, drafting players who are top 10 at their position, they'll be playoff contenders sooner than later. It's a smart, safe pick. Hard to argue against it. Moving to day 2, where the Raiders started with the 37th overall pick but traded back twice. At pick 58, they went offense again, selecting wide receiver Jack Bech out of TCU. I'm not going to lie, I was a little surprised they went wide out this early, but Jack Bech is a player that grows on you fast. A big-bodied 6 feet 2 inches, 215-pound receiver with a background playing tight end at LSU, Bech brings size, toughness, and reliability. He's a chain mover who hauled in 91 targets last year with just 1 drop. Most of his production came from the slot, but he can work outside too. He's strong after the catch, good with contested grabs, and a willing blocker in the run game. Off the field, he's got a powerful story as well. His brother Tiger Bech, who was a huge Raiders fan, passed away earlier this year. When Jack Bech got the call, he broke down emotionally, and you can tell playing for the silver and black means something deeper for him. My main knock is that he doesn't have true top-end speed. He's not going to stretch the field vertically the way some other receivers can. In my view, the Raiders still need that true X-receiver who can open things up deep. But even if it felt like a slight reach, this is a solid pick. Most draft outlets graded it an A, I'm giving it a B. Bech has a solid floor, strong hands, and a nose for moving the chains. With the 68th pick in the 3rd round, the Raiders finally turned to defense, grabbing cornerback Darien Porter out of Iowa State. Now this kid is an athletic freak. He's 6 feet 2 inches, 197 pounds, ran a blazing 4.340, and posted an absurd 9.9 relative athletic score. Zone coverage is where he thrives. He allowed a passer rating of just 4.7 last year. Darien Porter actually started his college career as a wide receiver, so he's got natural ball skills and great instincts when the ball is in the air. He's got ideal length and a frame built for press zone coverage. That said, he's still a little raw in man-to-man situations. His hips can get a little tight when he's matched up against smaller, shiftier receivers. But make no mistake, this is a classic Pete Carroll pick, built from the same mold as players like Tariq Woolen in Seattle. Adding Darien Porter into a secondary that already has speed demons like Ja'Cory Bennett and Damian Richardson makes the Raiders' defensive backfield scary fast. If the coaching staff can polish him up, I wouldn't be shocked if he's starting by midseason. I'm giving this pick an A-. At the tail end of day 2, the Raiders had back-to-back picks at 98 and 99. First, they selected offensive guard Caleb Rogers out of Texas Tech. Versatility is the name of the game with Rogers. He's 6 feet 5 inches, 313 pounds, started 55 games in college at both guard and tackle, and moves really well for a big man. In a Chip Kelly-influenced offense that wants to pull guards and get linemen moving in space, Caleb Rogers fits perfectly. It might have been a slight reach based on consensus boards, but this is a high-floor depth pick. With the right guard spot wide open, Rogers could legitimately push for a starting role. I like the pick, as it's safe, it's smart, and it addresses a real need. Then at pick 99, the Raiders grabbed defensive tackle Charles Grant out of William and Mary. This is a classic high-upside developmental tackle pick. Charles Grant is raw, but he's athletic, he's powerful in the run game, and he's got a background in wrestling which shows in his hand usage and leverage. Coming from a small school, there's naturally a question of how fast he'll adapt to NFL speed. But given that the Raiders already have Kolton Miller locked in at left tackle, this is a smart investment for the future. I doubt Grant plays much early on, and if he does, that's probably not a good sign, but if he develops the right way, he could be the left tackle of the future. For now, I'm giving this pick a C+. On day 3, the Raiders kicked things off with a bang, drafting wide receiver Dont'e Thornton Jr. out of Tennessee in the 4th round. This might be my favorite pick of the entire draft. Dont'e Thornton Jr. is a freak. He's 6 feet 5 inches, 205 pounds, runs a 4.340, and brings exactly what the offense needed, a true vertical threat. There isn't anyone else on the roster with his blend of size and speed. With a strong-armed quarterback like Geno Smith, you've got to have a weapon like Thornton who can stretch defenses vertically and open up the field. Now he's going to be a little bit of a developmental player. His route tree is limited right now, but you can't teach that kind of athleticism. Swinging for the fences here makes perfect sense. I'm giving it a B+. With the 135th pick, the Raiders selected defensive tackle Tonka Hemingway out of South Carolina. Slightly undersized at 6 feet 3 inches, 285 pounds, but he's got a quick first step and real pass rushing juice from the interior. He racked up 4 sacks and 29 pressures last year. Tonka Hemingway is a fit in Patrick Graham's 4-3 system and should immediately contribute to a rotational role. If he bulks up a bit and refines his technique, he could become a nice weapon on passing downs. Solid pick, I'm giving it a B. At pick 180 in the 6th round, the Raiders took another defensive tackle, J.J. Pegues from Ole Miss. This dude is massive at 6 feet 2 inches, 323 pounds, but moves way better than you'd expect for a guy his size. He's stout against the run, flashes as a pass rusher, and has the versatility to line up anywhere from nose tackle to the edge. Fun fact, Ole Miss even used him on offense in Wildcat package. If the Raiders ever want to get creative, they've got a guy who can crash into the end zone from a yard out. He needs to work on his get-off, but overall, another smart rotational depth piece. Another B grade from me. At pick 213, the Raiders added Tommy Mellott, a quarterback turned wide receiver from Montana State. He's 6 feet 0 inches, 200 pounds, ran a 4.3940, and posted a ridiculous 41-inch vertical. Tommy Mellott was a dual-threat quarterback in college, but his real upside at the next level is as a gadget player. Jet sweeps, trick plays, that kind of thing. This wasn't my favorite pick, but you can see the vision. Another swing on elite athleticism. I'm giving it a C. 2 picks later at 215, the Raiders grabbed quarterback Cam Miller out of North Dakota State. Another dual-threat guy with strong production at a smaller school. Honestly, I was hoping for a quarterback like Will Howard here, but Cam Miller is another developmental dart throw. Maybe he develops into a backup, maybe not. At this stage, it's a low-risk flyer. Finally, at pick number 222, the Raiders' last pick in 2024 draft, Raiders selected Cody Lindenberg, a linebacker out of Minnesota. Lindenberg is an experienced linebacker who can play coverage. ESPN's Louis Riddick described him as someone who won't be spectacular, but is a solid football player who can be a special teams contributor. It's a low-risk pick, so I gave him a C. Overall, the 2025 Raiders draft class is all about building a new identity. Fast, tough, high-upside players who fit the vision of John Spytek and Pete Carroll. I love the direction they're heading. In the next video, I will cover UDFA the Raiders signed. They are all equally important. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Which pick was your favorite? Who was your least favorite?